Welcome to this video. Today, we'll show you how to create an MVP on a user story map. This is a simple example of a food delivery app. Most of the cards were created by StorySynboard AI, and some were added manually. Let's create an empty release for the MVP and align the first user stories into this iteration. MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product, which means the very first release of a product with basic functionality. The MVP should fulfill at least one user goal. The top priority goal in our case is to order a meal using the app. Step 1. Identify the must-have steps in the user journey. Let's start with the first user goal, creating and updating an account. 3 steps belong to this goal, but we'll focus only on the first step, registering an account. Account management and additional preferences aren't necessary to order the first meal. I pick 2 user stories, register via email, and add payment information. Although the change password user story can be skipped, the team or the client might decide to include this function. Keep in mind that reducing account management options is commonly used by startups. Some of these functions can be added later, and in the meantime, account updates can be managed by the support team. It's easy to understand that recommendations and reviews aren't necessary at first, so we can focus on the simplest way to find a restaurant. In our example, filtering restaurants by cuisine type seems the smallest user story to pick a restaurant. Let's move to the order meal part of the story map and check the user steps in the narrative flow. To get the selected food delivered, the user should do the followings. Add meal to the cart. Instant order. Purchase order with the given payment method. Tracking the delivery is not necessary to get the meal, but the stakeholder decided to add this feature to the first version. So, I add the simplest user story to the release. If you think you're ready with the first iteration, but the estimated effort is still over your budget, you have 2 options to make the MVP smaller. Step 2. Check for simpler solutions. Most of the user stories come from a brainstorming session where teammates just drop random ideas, but even the most trivial ideas can be replaced by a smaller story. Let's check the filter restaurants by cuisine type. Is there a chance to find a smaller alternative for that? The answer is yes. To find the best solution, we recommend you to involve your developer team into this session. If you're not confident about opportunities, you can ask StorySynboard AI. I've added a custom AI function that checks a user story and recommends easier solutions. In this case, the team decided to add the search by name because it's easy to add to the product and move the original story back to the backlog. Try to check the other user stories too. You can use this technique not only in the MVP, but also in other iteration planning sessions. Step 3. Split user stories. Another popular technique is the user story splitting. In this case, we will split the story, add dishes into multiple stories, and add only one of them to the MVP. Similarly to the previous step, you can involve AI into story splitting process. We added an AI function which checks the story and recommends splitting options. Let's see the recommendations. The story can be splitted into 2 options. Add dishes individually. Update quantity. I create new cards based on the AI recommendation and remove the original story. Don't forget to copy description and specification text if you included crucial information into the original story. Feel free to use these techniques for trimming the MVP or other release to the team's capacity or budget. Thank you for watching. Follow us for more content.